their solution providers. And again, as I said when I started, this is the time for the buyers. They have a clear advantage. So if they're not happy, they can look elsewhere and they'll find what they need. Complementary services. I think that a lot of this came from probably social networking, that social networking is free, so there's a huge advantage there. And as companies look to think about how they can incorporate social networking sites into their recruitment strategies, a lot of these solution providers, leading providers, are offering complementary services. Again, really responding to the needs of their customers. The buyer is in a great situation right now. So companies like Taleo offering the Talent Grid, which is a community to interact with. Sonic Recruit, a Cytiva solution that is offering free consulting services to companies, even companies that are not their customers, to figure out their recruitment spend. And then MrTed offering, which was a big announcement, big innovation in the market, Smart Recruiters, which is a free ATS, a free talent acquisition system for organizations. And then market consolidation. I talked about that when we started and how important it is and all the rumors out there. And again, so many people think that this is not important for buyers, but it absolutely is important for buyers. And we will see that from all the experiences that have already happened as far as these consolidation has happened in the past. So you really need to consider the staying power of your solution provider. So this is a little overview. I said market consolidation happened in the past four years or so, with acquisitions, Kronos acquiring Unicrew and Deploy, Connexa acquiring Brassring, ADP acquiring Virtual Edge, and then more recently, Taleo's acquisition of Verve. So what does this mean for the buyer? Why should you even care about this? But it really, acquisitions can sometimes be an unsettling time, an uncertain time. So you as a customer might feel that you're losing maybe your customer support. You might feel that the company that acquired your talent acquisition system provider was a company that you decided not to select for whatever reasons. It might not feel like the cultural fit anymore. So really, it's important for buyers to stay on top of what's happening in the market. So when purchasing talent acquisition systems, organizations face many challenges, more so than in any other area of talent management. Talent acquisition is very influenced by both internal and external pressure. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse here of what some organizations that we're talking to are facing, both within their organization, whether it's mergers and acquisitions, like Wyeth and Pfizer, or relocation, like Volkswagen Group of America, and then all these external factors that are happening, that come in and really have little control over as far as your talent acquisition goes, and how this impacts talent acquisition. Workforce readiness to change. So given all these external and internal pressures, organizations need to consider one critical factor before selecting a talent acquisition system, and that's really the workforce readiness to change. So in the past, organizations are very resistant to change. Seeing now the need for change, the desire for change, we're really starting to see that organizations now are ready, especially after this year. And I imagine if we were to have launched this survey again right now, we would see this number go up even more so. So with hundreds and hundreds of solution providers out there to choose from, organizations can feel overwhelmed even at the enterprise level. So the key differentiators that we identified go far beyond the functionality and include a lot of the following areas. And typically, companies will narrow their list from 10 to 20 different providers that they might be looking at, then to a short list of 4 to 5 providers, and then finally narrow it down to 2 or 3 and make their selection from there. So what are some of these other key differentiators out there? Price is often the most popular differentiator. Obviously, companies want to make sure they're getting the most for what they're paying for, and that they're not paying for too much. So it's very hard to determine price for each individual provider. I'm sure many of you out there have been down this road before. But there are many variables to consider, and we found that 20% of companies pay more than they expected during the implementation phases. So there's a lot of factors out there, and we're going to look at that a little bit closer. The user experience. Again, you want to make sure now that these systems can do not just the back end, they also do the front end. You want to make sure that everyone that's involved, and that's a lot of people, has a positive experience. That's your recruiters, that's your hiring managers, that's all the candidates that are coming, or anyone looking at the site, and how much that impacts your branding as an organization. So really the user experience is a big factor for companies. It needs to, and this might sound a little fluffy, but it needs to feel right. The solution needs to feel right. Then you need to think about the heritage. Most of the providers that we profiled have their heritage in talent acquisition. So that's where their roots are, that's where their focus is. And other providers have started in performance management and then have moved into talent acquisition. Delivery models. Most companies are looking at SaaS delivery models, software as a service, where they can access it over the internet, it's web-based. Other options to have installed or on-premise solutions are still available and still important for an organization. So you need to figure out what you need as an organization. If you're a high security organization, chances are you're going to need an on-premise solution. So it just really depends on your own organization and what you need. But again, the majority of organizations we found are looking for a SaaS model. The domain experience. So if this is a provider that just announced their solution this month, that might be something to consider. You really need to think about the number of customers and the length of time of these providers. So they're maybe not just very new to the market. Customer references. So what I recommend to companies is not only to take those references that the providers are going to give you, but also to go beyond that. So not just to look at those references that they provide, but also to look at some of the social networking sites that are out there. Sites like ERE Media, TMT, recruiting blogs, and ask questions there. Ask questions to your peers there, because those are going to be a little bit more objective maybe than what your provider is offering as far as customer references go. So you really want to think about system performance and the solution provider performance. And then the staying power. Again, are they public or private? Do they have a good track record? Are they profitable? What's the quality of their customer base? And then innovation, we talked about that. What's on their roadmap for next year? Some other factors to include are integration, the right cultural fit, and are they a global provider? Again, if you're a global organization and you need a global provider, you need to ask those hard questions. So pricing. So again, very hard to determine pricing and to do an apples-to-apples comparison for all of these providers, but some things that you can think about and some things that really can impact the pricing are the number of users. Organizations, you can ask for ranges. So if you're not able to really determine a solid price, you can ask for ranges by the number of users, the number of modules that you might be purchasing, the length of commitment, the number of years, the time or the quarter of the year that you're purchasing can usually impact the price. The industry that you're in, maybe these providers want to build up their presence in one certain industry, so that might work to your advantage. A brand name, if you're a brand name customer, that certainly can help you out. And then if you're down to that selection, again, probably that 4 to 5 or 2 to 3 range when you've created your short list, that certainly can help when kind of negotiating price with these providers. How important is the user experience? Well, you can see from this chart here that it is very important. very important to organizations to